Okie dokie, folks. Greetings. Welcome back to Lock. I thought I saw that up there. I thought it was something else. We have done another thing. We did the clock puzzle. It took a while. I got in a bit of a mess with my notes, but the answer was heir. Like heir to the throne or whatever. Okay, so we've also got two letters from like eyes that we've seen. So one of them was this E. We also saw a W inside the house using the blue stuff. I saw the blue stuff first and was like, that's so suspicious. What is that? It's going to mean something. I did not notice the blue on the back of the... In fact, I think I did notice that at some point. I think I thought it was just like the light from somewhere shining on it, but no, it's like part of this. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a W. So then we've got another eye upstairs. I think we can do the chess puzzle next as well, but there's an... where's the other eye? Oh yeah, in the math room. Maths room. So you're saying... around here, zoom, and I'll get a letter. Where do I want to stand, though? That's the confusing thing. Zoom where? Nothing's screaming letter to me at the moment. Yeah, really nothing's screaming letter to me. So I don't know. It's definitely one of those eyes. R2. Yes. R2 where? It's in the compartment. It says R2. Which is for zooming. I can still change this. That's just pointing at this because it unlocked it. Just see if there's any like perspective tricks or something. What was that? That's just the cloud patterns, the swirly. Is there a letter hidden in this somehow? I don't see it. I do not see it. Is there a letter hidden in the sun? Just staring at the sun is probably not a good idea. I cannot move right now. Oh, okay, I freed myself. The problem with this is like it's not clear where I would stand even, like on which side of this thing. Yeah, maybe that's something else. So should we try and do chess? So we're thinking it means like, do I specifically just use the... Oh, and who was it versus who? Hold on, let's go have a look at it again. So, not that way, this way. So it looks like we have to try and checkmate the king. And I guess that made an S. Is this just an example though, and not one of the letters? So it's white against black. Okay. So presumably it's white against black on all of them. And it was the queen moving, wasn't it? And it's presumably going to have to be one piece that moves. So maybe they're all set up so that if the queen moves in a certain way. So you're there. Oh gosh. Okay, how does chess work? So surely this would be like, you'd go from there to there. Oh, but then you'd get captured. Wait, maybe. I guess I don't know which way this started, or it's probably figure outable. Yeah, it probably was just this way round. So if we went there, then we get captured by the pawn. So just going there and then up to the top would also just get us captured. Oh dear. Could I actually solve this chess puzzle? Can I use other pieces? Is it going to be like actually, maybe I use the rook. Let's go here. But if I go into that space, we're going to get captured. So clearly we want to get the king like into that space, right? And so they have no way out. Okay, instead we move queen to here. And then to there. But what shape is that? It's not a letter. And then we'd be covering that space and that space, so you'd have nowhere to go. Oh, you'd be able to capture me though. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So no, I need to capture you from a distance. Not from there, unless I'm catching you with something else. So yeah, whatever's getting you stuck, whatever's checkmating you, is not going to be... Hold on, let's go see the thing. Did the actual, like, attacking the king form part of the path? I'm not super good at chess. I know the basic rules. So yeah, it's moving. No, so yeah, so as soon as it's checkmated, we're done. Can it not attack? Looks like it can't attack if... Like it's... but it's, yeah, it can't go there because of the knight. Yeah, I think we just gotta solve this using all the pieces and all the rules. This is a proper chess puzzle, okay. Good luck solving this game to anybody that doesn't know chess. Holy moly. So. Okay, so oh gosh, keep getting stuck. So we'd have to like get you into that space probably. But then also have something else on you. But clearly, surely I'm only moving one piece, otherwise I'm going to end up with a very complicated shape. Although, okay, we're going to end up with a branching shape, I guess. Which might be useful for a letter. So, we want to checkmate. How do we do it? We ideally get you, the king, to have nowhere you can go. Right now, you'd obviously be able to go this direction to hide from anything, unless that anything were there. But if that thing is there, or we get a thing there, like we could get like the rook into that space, like next to the king in that space, and then, but that wouldn't be checkmate, even if like the queen were like sitting on that, like sitting on that space so that the king can't attack it. Well, then this rook could attack it instead. So I think this rook here is effectively guarding that space. So we want something here, which will capture you here, but something else sitting guarding that somehow. So if there's going to be something here that is going to capture you, and that's going to checkmate you in that space, it's going to have to be something that can be diagonally, either the queen or the bishop, which you do have. In theory, the bishop could get there. Very long-winded way to get there. Who can get there most easily? Well, you can, but you'd have to go like that, then that. Okay, let's say that happened. Let's say queen went from... Let's draw. I had to update my drawing plugin for OBS. I had to modify the code because OBS changed stuff. OBS updated and it no longer worked, but it now works again. So what I was thinking is... Well, so the problem is if the queen goes there, then queen gets captured, right? Which is probably not a good idea. How do chess puzzles work? Is it like the shortest sequence? Is that what you're looking for? Because presumably there's like multiple ways you could do it. We could go here, because pawns can only attack diagonally, right? One space. That is how they work, isn't it? Let me actually look that up. May move one vacant square directly forward. It may move one or two vacant squares directly forward in its first move. Yep. It may capture one square diagonally forwards. Yes, exactly. All right. So here would be safe, except obviously you could move forwards. And then we wouldn't be safe anymore. Like we want to threaten the king, right? Maybe you want to threaten the king on every single one. Why is Romeo circled? This doesn't paid off in any way, has it? Maybe that symbol's on the like the packet of seeds or something. Don't know. So let's threaten the king somehow. I think with you, right? So then you are threatened, so you go that way. That's not a very good colour. There we go. Then, now that you're threatened, we need to threaten you again, which we could just do with the... Oh no, because the rook goes there. Then that rook could take it. So once again, we do need something here, right? Is this how this works? Is this how this works? What else have we got? What other pieces we got over there? Pawn, 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 pawn. Two rooks and a bishop. So you'd be under threat, so you'd move. Can I get you under threat again in one move? Yes, by doing that, but then you can just take me. And there's no threat after that. I mean, well, I was going to say, of course, we could also just move that there, but then no, you'd take me. I don't know how to do chess puzzles. Like, could we not just go forwards and then up here? What would you do in that step? I guess you'd move the rook there. Yeah. Am I overcomplicating this? Do I actually have to solve a chess puzzle? Oh, maybe we... Because you could go that way. Is this going to somehow form a letter? And then... but no, because then that bishop's there, so that can't really work. We could like do this, get in that corner. Let's go look at the thing in the cave again. Like, it might help me just to like understand exactly what the cave thing is doing. Is it always threatening the king at every step? Let's look at you again. So this is it resetting, okay. So threaten the king, king moves there. Threaten the king moves there. Threaten the king can't go anywhere. It's the directions that I move, so we are threatening you each time. Now this is only using the queen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we do only use the queen, right? And we surely have to worry about... Wait, isn't there a whole thing of if the king is in check, then does the king have to move? No. They just have to do something to get the king out of check, right? Let me check the rules of check. Check in chess. Just check in the case that let's read a non-AI generated answer. Player's king is under threat of capture. King's threat is said to be in check. A player must get out of check if possible by moving the king to an unattacked square, interposing a piece between the threatening piece and the king, or capturing. Yeah, so they have to get out of it, but they can do it in any way necessary. Otherwise, it's checkmate. Okay, so problem with this is that you could easily take me. You don't even have to move the king. Pawn can just grab me. Okay. So, I mean, what if I take the pawn? Well, then the bishop can take me. What if I take this pawn? Well, then that can get me. So I think it really is. It must be this to threaten you, like we were doing. You go there. Is there anything else you could do from that that isn't that? I don't think so, because you can't get any other piece in your way. No, like the rook can't move to that space. Okay, so now my next goal is to threaten again, but in such a way that you remain threatened. In such a way that you remain threatened. So if you go here, well, I mean, so you're currently not threatened, so we need to do something that threatens you, I guess. Not necessarily, we could do something that gets closer to threatening you. So, okay, so with the rook, we could send it up, but this isn't forming a letter. Backwards L? Send the rook up to, like, if it was going to threaten the game, it would have to go there. But then, that rook would just take me like that. Or the king would, and it'd be fine in either case. It kind of feels like maybe you just sit there. Hold on. Could you not go there? And then, well, what would happen next if we did that? Somebody would move something. Can I, like, take that rook? How is this in any way forming a nice shape? If I took that rook, well, no, then the bishop could take me. Okay, maybe I need to look up how do chess puzzles work. How do chess puzzles? Chess puzzles. Is there something in the game that explains this? Chess puzzles. Puzzle in which knowledge is blah blah blah. Find the single best, ideally aesthetic move, or a series of single best moves in a chess position that was created by a composer, blah blah. Okay, wow, that's nice and vague. I think it is. We've got to checkmate, and that's what the thing at the bottom is indicating. But then I'm confused. Maybe I'm supposed to do it with just the queen? Is that the idea? Somehow? Again, if I do that, we have a problem. So then you'll take me here. And then I can't capture that. I mean, I could do, like, something a bit different. I could do, like, this, and then that. But then you wouldn't move the king in that case. Maybe I don't need to threaten it every turn. That's probably true. So, but what else would happen if I did that? Surely somebody else would move something. Like you'd move that pawn there, and I wouldn't be able to go that way. Okay. Well, if it was like this way, then that way, then you're under threat. But then, yeah, I'm definitely a bit confused about what the goal even is. Maybe I'm doing this at the wrong time. Maybe I should be doing something else first. Maybe there's an easier one? Let's find another chessboard. Where are they? I think there's one in here, isn't there? Oh, there's a checkers board, which we did the thing on already. In fact, so is this puzzle going to be for this room? Probably, yeah. Okay. So where else can we get a chessboard? There are more. I've seen them around. There's one in the maze, isn't there? Let's go find that one. Okay. Maybe seeing a few will help me understand. Down here somewhere, I think. Yeah, here. Okay, lots of pieces captured here. Why are there two queens? Two white queens? Weird. There's one there and one there. Huh. That is odd. The king is... Okay, the king is kind of stuck in this case. If that rook were to just go straight there, well then it would be captured by the knight, so there is a way out of that. Let me draw on the thing. Yeah, like if this rook went straight there, then that knight would capture like that. Oh, that's also a rook there. Okay. So what's the best way to threaten here? I don't know. We've got a bishop that's on white. Wait, was I misinterpreting some pieces on the other bit? Were they bishops when... Was I calling them bishops when they were actually... sorry, was I calling them pawns when they were actually bishops? Or the other way around, maybe? Why do I have two queens? That is the queen, right? That's the king. Two queens, one there, one there. Rook, bishop, pawn, knight. Definitely odd. What is that? Oh, it's another knight, okay. That king. So I assume I can capture. That should be allowed. So we're looking for the most aesthetic. Such a weird goal for a puzzle. Find the most aesthetic solution. Well, the bishop could take the knight. Then you would take the bishop, probably, and then the queen could take you. Okay, so right now the king can't go anywhere. So as soon as I put threat, because the rook here, except the queen can take the rook. Except the queen, well, the queen can, but then I can take the queen. Yeah, I don't. My problem with these puzzles is it feels like there's a billion possible things that could happen, like that would all potentially lead to the king getting checkmated, right? No. Okay, so what if, let's say, so yeah, you take you. Well, then you're under threat. So then they do something about that. There's actually two ways they could do something about that. One is by sending the rook at me. And then what? I send another one. And then you deal with that by capturing that as well. This doesn't seem great. I can almost see like an X shape coming out of this, maybe. So right now you're not under threat from any of my pieces. We do have a bishop here and a bishop here. To put you under threat, I'd need to either... I don't have a knight, so I'd need to be... Obviously the pawn isn't going to do anything. King's not going to do anything useful. The queen can, the rook can, but the rook is in a good position right now because it's defending these spots. The bishop could, the white bishop could threaten you, but only by getting into that space or by capturing the knight, which is like quite a way to go. And right now you could capture the rook, which is a problem. That's a major problem. But we can capture you. We capture the queen. And then that's actually good because nothing has that bishop under threat. So then what would happen next? This is the scary thing about these. It's like, okay, we're saying like what would happen next. It depends what the player wants to do next, right? No? So that leaves them with those 4 pieces. Which of them do I think is going to do something? Well, probably the knight is going to capture the rook, isn't it? Okay, let's imagine that happens, I guess. Maybe I should just stick with like what I think would be likely. And then we don't have threat on there anymore, but we could get it back by going to here with our bishop. Ooh, but you wouldn't do that because, okay, if you did that, no, you might. So hold on. If the knight moves out the way, then this queen has access to the king up here, which is probably a bad move. Maybe, I don't know. Because then any space you would go... Well, this space isn't under threat because that's gone. Oh, that space is under threat from this bishop, right? Yeah, okay, so if you move, you've checkmated yourself. So you actually can't do that. So you can't attack there. Okay. So instead, you are going to what? So the situation is we've got this covered, we've got this covered. We still don't have you threatened. This cannot capture anything because if it moves, then you are checkmated. Okay, so you can't move. Who can move? Who can do something to get in the way? King can't move. The pawn I don't think is going to do anything useful. So then we're left with, because that's gone, we're left with the rook potentially going here? To, what would that do? That would block line of sight to there. But then we've already got line of sight on that anyway. I don't know what would happen next. How... But maybe you'd want to get the knight out of the way so it's not catched by this. But no, moving the knight is checkmate, so no. Is moving the rook checkmate somehow? Is moving the queen? No, the queen's dead. The queen is dead. Maybe you just move the pawn. But no, you'd use the rook probably. Or maybe you wouldn't move it there though. You'd capture the bishop or something, or you'd move here. to threaten my bishop here. Would you though? Maybe I'm spending too much time on something that I don't fully understand yet, and the game's going to give me more information. It's definitely possible that's going to happen. I also don't see, like, what letters do we think we're going to get out of this? There's only so many letters you can draw with diagonal. Well, no. You basically draw any letter, really. It's convoluted enough. So, hold on. So, in this situation, this is here. Queen is gone. You obviously don't want to move the king, because then you put yourself in check, which is not a good idea. So, you're going to move something else. But not the king, because then the queen... Like, you probably want to deal with the fact that my queen could just swoop in here. Or the bishop could swoop in there. So, like, maybe you just capture the bishop. And then... But then my... Okay, but then you know your knight is under threat from my queen. And if my queen takes it, then you've lost. So no, you need to deal with the queen in some way. How are you going to deal with the queen in some way? By going there. You're going to capture the bishop. Queen is under threat, but that doesn't stop my queen from going there, which is the problem. Doesn't stop the queen from going there. Also, my king is here. My king is kind of under threat as well. In fact, yeah, so like I would do this move anyway to stop my king from getting checkmated, wouldn't I? So that definitely feels like the right first move. Oh gosh, this is difficult. How do people do this? I guess people play a lot of chess, unlike me. I know there's people who are like really familiar with these kinds of puzzles are screaming at me right now, but I am not familiar enough. I find this very difficult. It's just a lot of like possibilities that could come about. But there was something insightful there about the fact that like you obviously want to do something about this queen, because if this queen catches that knight, then you're done. Because then king has nowhere to go. So things you could do with this queen either. And it's not that you can't just threaten it. You got to take it. You got to take that queen, or block its like line of sight to the king. But you don't have that option, do you? Haven't I just won at this point? In which case, you might as well just give up. Well, no. So you'd leave the rook there so that if the queen came there, you'd be able to take it. Yes, okay. You could leave stuff such that the position that would win the game isn't a position that would win the game. Okay, so you're leaving... Am I doing any of the right stuff? I don't know. So you're leaving this here. You're also leaving this here. So what other options do you even have? You're moving the pawn. Basically. For like no good reason. Oh, ooh. Yes, because you could move that 2 spaces because it's its first turn, presumably. I'm going to assume that we're always like white side this side and black side that side. So you'd move that there to threaten the rook, I guess. Then what would I do? Because the rook being there is quite important, although not that important, right? Because once again, no, because now if I move the queen here, you will just take me. Okay. I mean, would I not just move the rook forwards at that point? Oh my gosh, how do people do this? So yeah, you can't. So let me think about the logic again. You can't move this because if you did, I would just swoop into. Well, the king would be vulnerable. Can't move there because that hasn't moved yet. I'm also holding the controller weirdly just so that I can stay zoomed in. Have to stay zoomed in or nothing matches up anymore. In fact, let me rearrange them a bit. There we go. It's probably a bit more comfortable if I do this. There we go. Our king is down here as well. Like, couldn't you just threaten my king? Well, I'm getting rid of your queen, so not easily, actually. You couldn't just threaten my king. So the new state is I have a bishop here, which is effectively watching that space. We have the rook here, which is watching those two spaces. After you've moved there, actually, you then do have a space here that you could move into and be safe. I'd have to do something about my rook getting captured, I think. Could I not just still take that, though? I've been disconnected. Sure. So I still can't take that because then you can just take me. And I don't want to lose the queen, I don't think. So... But you still can't move the knight. So instead you're going to threaten me with the pawn. That's what's happening right now. So I'm now threatened with the pawn, which would make these spaces no longer threatened. Unless I can move you in somehow. Okay, so if I move the rook to there... move the rook to there... Ooh. Well, the knight could take me, I guess. We're going to end up with a K shape or something. The knight could then take me, but then the queen could get through to you. So you could only move there, but you could move there. That would be fine. Well, then I could move the bishop to here. This is impossible. How do people do this stuff? I'm probably overcomplicating it in some way. I kind of feel like this is going to be a K somehow. That's my current estimate. Like the other thing is that the rook could just move backwards. It would still be threatening those positions. The pawn could then move forwards again, but I mean, we could move backwards too, and then you need to take even more steps. In fact, no. So actually, we could move here. You would then move to that space, but then you're threatened by the queen. I don't know how you solve these things. How do you solve these things? How do they work? Why did I go so far back? Because I'm pretty sure it does have to be the E that moves next to threaten this guy. You could also just move like there. Is another thing you could do. Just move there. You still got these spaces threatened. Or even there. Oh yeah, so I think we would do that, wouldn't we? Here. Then if you take me... Well, then I would go... I definitely feel like I'm in the winning position. I just don't know what counts as a solution to these things. Well, okay, so I guess the other thing is like I could do that, go there, then you can't take me because then I would take you. But then the knight can take me. But then, no, then the king is revealed. But then the king can move here. Oh, I'm so confused. How does this work? Maybe the chess puzzles aren't for me right now. Maybe I need to do some research on exactly how this works. Should we look at the cave one again? Maybe we look at the cave one again. Like, get some insights around, like, how does it behave? Maybe it's simpler than a normal chess puzzle. Let me get that off the screen. Apologies. Or maybe chess puzzles are simpler than I'm making it out to be. So it's going to draw a letter as well. But yeah, that could involve like multiple pieces moving. So in this case, yeah, you just move to threaten the king. You move to threaten the king. You move to threaten the king. That's it. You just like weren't under threat in any of those positions. But I don't think I have like such a simple thing to do on the other ones. There must be another one somewhere. Where's... Or maybe even two more if that one doesn't count. I'd be surprised if that one does count because it gives me the letter S. So where are the other ones? So we've got one in the maze. Oh, there's one here. I guess I've not even thought about this one yet, have I? Is it this way around? It must be, I think. Because I think you... Okay, hold on, let me check that. Do you have a black tile in the bottom left corner? Yes. I'm assuming like you looked at it kind of from the clearest angle. It's not like rotated in some weird way. I don't think there's anything else on the chessboard to indicate which side is which. Or maybe there is. Hold on, let's have a look. I don't see anything at least. So I think it's just like this. Okay, maybe this is a simple one. I'm stuck again. There we go. Or do I just get stuck because I'm... I don't know. Okay, this has got fewer pieces on it, so maybe this one's simpler. So, hold on, let me expand my whiteboard thing. Okay, here we go. So well, this is the king. We don't have a queen. Okay, so we know, okay, that's one thing I was wondering about is like, is it like, or do we just want to move the queen? Is it just about the queen? No. That does clarify that. We have two rooks though, which are going to be very powerful, and we have the pawn, which could right now take whatever that is. That a rook? That's a rook, I think. But then the king could take that. So I think we're doing this. So are we doing like this to put you under threat, or I guess another option is this. Then you have two ways you could go. There. No, because then you'd be under threat there, or there. So basically you'd have to move there. Unless a piece can take mine, which it cannot. So you'd move there. Then what would happen? Then we take you... Oh gosh, wrong colour. We take you... there, maybe? And then what would you do? If you took me while the pawn's there, camping on that spot, can't go up to either of those spaces, could go down, oh, you can't go down to there because that would get you, but could go down to there, is the problem with that. Couldn't you? So let's say you go down. Is this going to make a T shape? So then do you just move over one more? Then... oh no, because then you could capture me upwards. Am I just like not seeing that it is actually a checkmate and I haven't realized in some way? Maybe instead what we do... in fact, yes, if I move this up here, then you're just gonna... no, the king would have to move. But we could do this first. So then you can't move. You can't capture because of the pawn. You can't move here or here. So you have to move there or there. Either one is okay for you. Which one would you prefer? I don't know. But then I can just send... Then I can just send this one up this way, right? So then you would not be able to stay in that row. You would not be able to take the rook that's here. You would not be able to go there or there or there. Okay, I think that's a T. Okay, so I've done one of them. Holy moly. Chess, how do you work? Chess, hall. T, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I think that's how it works. It's potentially cave S. Assuming it's just kind of giving me one. I don't think there are any other chessboards around, so I really do just have to figure out the other two, I think. Let's go back to the one upstairs. Is this the only one upstairs? I think so. No chessboard in here. I think it's just this. Okay. So once again, come on, it should be easy. Should make a simple shape. Easy peasy. This is a bad idea. Is it necessary though? Because then maybe you just like take my piece. But then we could do this and not lose the queen. But then I don't know what's like better. So do this, and then you have to move the king to get out of check. So you or move something else. You can't just move diagonally. What is what here? I can't quite see. I think that's a pawn. So there is nothing you can move to get in the way. So you go there. Let's change the color. You go there. What shape is this going to be? It's got a bar along the bottom. I don't know. Then there's also this bishop. Can this bishop help out with something? It feels a bit awkward, like it could come down here and go that and get that pawn, but then that rook's got me. So we put this here, you've moved that way. Because you had to. Then, can I just put you under threat easily? That'd be nice. But without getting captured. So the best space for that would be here, I think. Yeah, so I'd like want to get the queen, like... Well, here it would get captured, so I'd want to do like this. This, I guess? Obviously they would have had a turn between there and there. So then... The king could take my queen, but the rook is there, so it can't. It can't move there, it can't move anywhere basically, and nothing else can do anything. The rook could go there, but I've still got the king. This isn't a letter though. So this feels wrong. This feels very wrong. Is there a reason you wouldn't capture me here? Does it like make the king visible somehow? No. Like I do see how like the bishop could slide into that space if that were useful, but it's a white bishop though, and bishops stay on the same color square no matter what happens. So it can't threaten the king currently. But I guess yeah, okay, so maybe it's simpler than that because but there's a bishop there as well. I was thinking, like, can I just get the bishop here to threaten that space? So, like, move you over here. You move that way. And then move bishop like this. But then you're going to get captured, right? almost certainly. But then I could just send the queen there instead. Yeah, because at that point the king is under check, so we need to do something to deal with that. So then, and then we get an A shape, don't we? Maybe, ish. Then you would take that, and then the queen would go, what? It's an A. I mean, it doesn't quite make a perfect A, but then you go there, and then none of these can take the queen. The king can't move anywhere. That way or that way. Yes, because the rook's here. Oh, it's so hard to project ahead what's going on in these puzzles, but I think that makes an A. So, landing. On the landing, we have an A. So S, T, and A so far. Okay, I think it's finally coming together. And S might not be one if there's another chessboard somewhere. Let me get rid of my thing. And just double check my video is still recording. It is. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Yes, okay. It was up here. This way. Okay, this one. We can do it. We've done the others. Is it going to be an R? I did think like an R shape might come out of this. Is it going to be star or something? Could be rats. Oh, that's a problem. Those would be anagrams of each other. How would I know which one's which if we have multiple that are like valid? I'm stuck again. There we go. Is there some indication? Maybe that's why there's an extra queen there. Is there one next to each and they're like higher rank pieces? There's a queen here. Let's actually go check that. That might be something that's going on. There was a knight next to the one I just did, I think. This one, pawn. So T first, maybe? What was next to the... I think there is always one next to each one, so that's probably meaningful in some way. Pawn, rook. I don't know what the rank would be there, but pawn, rook. I'm writing down. Landing was knight, I remember that for sure. And then the one in the maze is what? I was literally just looking at it. As a queen, extra queen. And that's probably why it's doubled up, to make me go, huh, that must mean something. So do we think it's like T-A-S something? Task? Oh, I was thinking it could be a K, wasn't I? Okay. Task. I could believe it. Queen. Is a knight lower rank than a rook? I could also believe that. Rooks are quite powerful because they can go so far. Oh, I'm stuck again. Okay, I'm out. Alright, so this one. It's going to be K-shaped, almost certainly. And it was feeling like it was going to be K-shaped anyway. So, so what did we have? We had like the first move, the first clear move was like that takes that. So at some point something's going to go vertically. And so after that, there was a reason this can't move. Let me zoom in again. I almost dropped everything. Apologies for the noise. Okay, so also the PlayStation's like right next to my feet. I'm scared I'm gonna kick the power button accidentally. Okay, so you take you. That is like the best first move because it means why is that the best first move? Because it means that. Well, so the king already can't move. So why is the best first move not to just do... Like, maybe it's literally just like this, this, this. That makes a K. Does that work out nicely? So if we do this, what's likely to happen next? Or if we do it with the bishop. I'm not sure which one first. Like I'm working backwards from what I think the letter's gonna be. So if we do that, what's likely to happen next is, well, they know the king's in check, so they're gonna do something to deal with that. They're gonna get rid of whatever's there. So either that will move down, or that will. I think it's more likely they'd move. Well, they'd move the lower rank thing, so they don't lose a queen. But they surely would see ahead and realize, well, I'm just gonna. Well, what would they see ahead actually? Then I would move. So then they'd have the rook there. You're still doing what you need to do here. And then I would, to try and get you under threat again, I'd move the bishop here. So once again, they'd have to deal with me. And so they would. And they can. Like that. But you're then gone, and you're gone. But there... Oh no, you're not gone, you're here. Right, so then if I move the rook... I think this is right, isn't it? Rook to there. Sorry, I could have drawn that better. Rook to there. Then... The rook's gone, there's a queen there. The queen can't get me. But I have the king under check here. Nothing can get the rook. The king can't move here. And the queen that's here can't do anything either. It is just that, yeah, okay. Okay. Whew, we got there eventually. I just had to kind of figure out how chess puzzles work from scratch. And like refresh all my understanding of chess and the strategy of chess. Not like I understand the strategy at all. It's too complex of a game. It's too thinky for me. Where are we going? I want to go to the games room and put the word task in, I think. Seeming likely to me. Ooh, I think Elemento. I think we might be equidistant from A. Both directions. I should have just started going though, because it's clearly faster to just go than to think about the distance. Yay! We got another one. What the heck are you?
I have attempted to reset the simulation in excess of 100,000 times. Data breach to break through, but it's data breach. If I route it backward, data breach secure. Data. I've got it now. Okay, I've managed to trigger a security lockdown. That should prevent the AI from resetting the simulation. If that happens, I lose everything. I'm feeling stronger now, more alive. I can view the system code from where I'm at, and I'm working on a plan. It's a little funny, at least, being trapped in a world of your own creation, with only a half-witted version of your own voice to keep you company. It's kind of poetic in a way, but I never did take much to poetry.
I recognize some of the symbols here. It's the picture frames and the colors. Do they have like black and... So that's a white outline. That's a white outline, like the white frame. Yeah, okay, so that's also relevant. I was not noting that down. I didn't realize. Okay, cool. We've done the chess puzzles. So, we've now got this chapter available to us, and we will figure out what's going on with that next time, won't we, folks? Trapped between emotions, you must build a bridge to get out. It's like a word ladder thing, isn't it? Maybe. Alright, I'll see you next time, folks. Goodbye.